Well, strong leadership, I would prefer the question on good leadership, because I think good leadership basically is about when and where people and organizations really can deliver to their full potential. And I not really like to tell others what is good or bad leadership, but if I can share what I learned myself on my own journey on leadership, that is much more meaningful to me. And I've been fortunate to be invited to lead organizations in Sweden, in France, in North America, very different management cultures, but also leading organizations in Volvo and IKEA in high executive positions, 16 years in Volvo and 7 years in IKEA. Two very different corporate cultures, I would say opposites of each other. So the differences are obvious. But my question is there a common denominator? Is it anything here in common? And I think it is. That's my experience. Because in all our missions, we are we are expected to deliver some outcomes. And in order, so to say, to do so, we have to create human energy necessary to make that happen. And there I think it starts to be interesting, because I think that human energy, in my experience, that's created when we invite people to something meaningful, something learningful, something really worthy people's full commitment. So that for me is the secret, or maybe you should call it common sense. Well, if we accept what I said, that this kind of creating human energy is about inviting people to something meaningful and learningful, I think we have to accept we are in the trust building business. And as far as I'm concerned, I think we are all in the same business. We are in the trust building business. And then I think the way to approach that is to invite people to a co-creation process. Because the idea that a few are supposed to decide and others are supposed to implement, I think that's a very mechanical worldview, pushing buttons and pulling levers. So releasing creativity and commitment, we have to open up for co-creation. But when you invite people and open up, you get centrifugal effect. People are running all over the place. So we need a center to keep things together. And for me, that's this question on purpose. Why are we here? Or better, who would miss us if we weren't here? And around that purpose or meaningful purpose, we have to open up to co-create. And for me, co-creation, co is about together, and creation is about to create. And I think it's important to remember that the future is really not a road to be discovered or something to be predicted. The future has still to be created. So that means from leadership, for me, is very much the question, what future do we want to create together? And saying and thinking like that, then I think leadership is as much about listening and learning as it is about telling and teaching. Listening to customers, to co-workers, to society, to shareholders, to all stakeholders. And constantly living with the question, what is our company good for? So we don't just stop with what is good for our company. And that's why I think leadership is kind of a midwife process to help bring about what wants to happen. And that's kind of a bottom-up listening process as much as a top-down implementation perspective. And then I think your question there, because of course finally in the end, no margin, no mission. If we don't deliver results, we will not be around. So of course we have to deliver results, but to give their best, people need a meaningful cause to believe in. I think that's the best way to create the good results. And you could say, why is then trust is important? Well, I think it has to do with trust is about quality of relationships. So the better quality of relationship, the better we understand each other. The better we understand each other, the better we can collaborate. The better we can collaborate, the better results we can achieve. That's a good virtuous circle. To get out of this vicious circle, about decreasing listening and misunderstanding, lack of trust, separation and fear, and increasing cost, and worse results. So that's kind of what I've learned, and that's my leadership journey. And I think giving attention to the quality of relationships, then HR is shifting from being human resource to becoming human relations. And I think seeing coworkers and customers as people, as human beings, that's kind of where the leadership focus should be.